Today in this lesson, we're going to take our percent Excel and finally finish it up. So just so you see, this is where we left off. First, when we started doing this, we did discount, original cost, new cost, tax, tip, and markup. And then most recently, we went through and made this extra column where we can actually figure out what the discount amount is, tax amount, etc. So what we're going to do now is scroll down and we're going to add in these two rows of information. So go ahead, pause the video now so that you can get yours caught up with mine. Now that you have that done, here's what we want. We want to be able to type in our information and figure out what our interest is. Now, remember back to what our formula is. Our formula is interest equals principal times rate times time. Okay, and remember, time is in amount of years. So I want to be able to put in a principal number, the rate, I'm going to put it in as a percent. I'll show you that in a second, and how many years. All right. If the problem's in years, I won't put anything in months. And then this formula is where I'm going to calculate my interest. So here we go. Equals. Well, interest equals principal. So I'm going to click this box, my principal box, times rate. Now watch this. Last time we took the rate and we had to make it into a decimal, so we divided by 100. But there's a shortcut in Excel. Whatever number is in this box, the rate box, if we put a percent sign, shift 5, it will automatically now calculate it as a percent, which is what we want. So it'll automatically move the decimal for us. So we're going to put a percent sign in this time instead of divide by 100. So I have my principal times rate times time. Now we're going to set this up so no matter what number I fill in, years or months, it will be able to calculate it. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to multiply by, and I'm going to put a parenthesis, shift 9. I'm going to multiply by whatever number's in this box. Okay. And I'm going to add that to whatever number's in this box. And here's why. If you get an interest problem that deals with years, there won't be a month's number. So it'd be like adding nothing. So it'll just be the years amount. Likewise, if you have a problem that deals with how many months it's been in the bank, it won't be years. So we can add those. Years would be 0, and it's like adding nothing. So here we go. Again, just to back up, take principal times rate as a percent times your time. Well, if I do have a years number, it would just be the years. Okay, so remember, I'm going to add my years and months because my amount of time is either going to be years or months, not both. Plus, and now I want to do my months. So I would click this box, but here's what you have to remember. When we deal with months, remember we have to take the number and put it over 12 because the number of months needs to be in terms of years. So because years are out of 12 months, we have to take our number of months and set it over 12. So in a smaller set of parentheses, I want to take my months number, set it over 12, which is the same as division, close that parenthesis. All right, so now take a look at what we have. We have principal times my rate as a percent, which will automatically move the decimal twice to the left, times time. In my time, I have years. If it was a number of years, there would be a 0 in for months. So this will all cancel out and I'll be done. If I don't have any years, that would be a 0. And then I got to figure out a month's number. So I would put it in here. I would divide it by 12 and that would give me my number. I put this inside a smaller parentheses because I do want the division to happen first before the add. It would anyway. I'm just helping to put parentheses in to keep it a little cleaner. Put another set of parentheses in to close this. So this entire section is my time, broken into two components, my years amount and my months amount. Hit enter, and it'll say 0. So let's try a number. Let's say I put $100 in the bank at 5%. I don't need a percent sign, just the number. And I'm going to do that for 1 year. Well, I would make $5 interest. All right. So let's take the number of years out and let's say 6 months. That's half a year. Well, that's $250. Does that make sense? It should, because that's half the time it's in the bank and I made half the interest. Okay. So feel free to go back over that section again. I'll double click on it so you can see it one more time. I have my principal, rate, and my time. This is the year's time and this is the month's time. Notice I'm adding because one of them is going to be 0. Either I'm going to get a year amount, which means this would be 0, which won't change anything, or I would get a month amount, which means the year amount would be 0. Well, I have one last thing to do. Okay, how much total money do I now have in the bank? Well, I started with 100 and I made an extra $2.50 from the bank. So this is a simple addition, equals my principal, I just click on it, plus my interest. Hit enter. So after 6 months, I could leave with $102.50. Okay, so that's this part. Now let's go down to the bottom part. What if we're trying to find what rate is? Okay, just like in the later part of the Play Pause It video we did. Well, rate is interest divided by whatever principal times time is. So go to rate and let's put in equals interest. Let's flip back again one more time. Interest divided by principal times time. So equals interest divided by, now principal times time, I need that number first so that I then can do my division. So I need to put those in parentheses. Shift 9 for parentheses. I need my principal times my years and close my parenthesis. Okay, now it'll say divide by 0, and that's only because I don't have any values in. So let's try this. Let's use the same problem we just did, but backwards. Let's say I made $2.50. Principal was 100. Years. Now, this is out of months. I'm not going to make a new box. What's 6 months? Well, that's half a year. 6 over 12 is 1/2. So I'm going to put in 0.5. And what's my rate is 0.05. So let me do this real quick. Let me go back in and set my formula to automatically make that into a percent so I can just take this answer. So I'm going to double click on this. I need to take this whole thing, and how do I move from a decimal to a percent? Move the decimal twice to the right, which is the same as multiplying by 100. So I'm going to put parentheses around everything. Parenthesis, parenthesis, and what do I need to multiply it by? Say it with me, 100. Nice job. Okay, now it switched it to $1. I don't want that. So I'm going to click on the box itself, go back up to the center where it says currency. Maybe yours is normal, that's fine. I'm going to go back up here and click on currency and click on general. And there is my number. Okay. So double click on that again. What did I do? Remember my formula. If I want to figure out what the rate is, what my percentage is, Take interest divided by principal times time. Principal, A21, divided by principal times time. Okay, I don't think you'll get any questions in terms of months later on, and it did it again. So I'm going to click on that and click on general again. Okay, some of you may have been asking, like, why are some of these dollar signs and others aren't? It's because I clicked on the box and changed instead of general to currency. So maybe that's why it's kind of forcing this one out. So I'll click these again and change them back to general. That's probably why that is doing that, because that was a currency and it was calculating with it, so it put the answer in currency. So this is your job today, to make all these updates happen. Excuse me, again, you're not sending this to me, you are just updating your Excel. All right, this is our final update with this. So we now want to be able to put in simple interest stuff. Principal, the amount we put in the bank, what percentage it is, how long it stays in, and we should be able to figure out how much interest the bank's going to owe us and how much money we now have in total. Reverse of that is I should be able to put in my interest, my principal, how long it's been in, and figure out what the rate percent was. Okay, good luck. Do not email this to me. Update it and save it.